Mike's picking me up, but I was taught in this building or in this campus to yell without a mic anyway. So, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Greene. And in case anybody does not know, Dr. Greene awarded me with that honorary doctorate degree back in 2013. And you know what was funny? Read Newsday. Haters were like, oh, they just giving honorary doctorates to anybody. And I didn't know how wicked this is. We spilled blood on this campus. Thank you, Dr. Greene, and thank you everybody here tonight. Saw so many people, John Schmidt. Michael Sano, it's like, yo, Wild Man Steve. This Johnny Juice, you know, and Dr. Dre. Andre Brown. We got really pissed off when the other Dr. Dre had a doctor. Back in the day, we get all the records at WBAU, and we got this record for this guy calling himself Dr. Dre, and we were like, that guy ain't gonna last long.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
As I said, I'm not the James Lipton. I'm going to ask some questions, but I'm certainly going to let Chuck D be Chuck D. So you don't have to worry about that. And as James Lipton would do, he starts with some personal questions. And so, where in Queens did you live?
No, I was born in Queens, Flushing, in the shadows of what used to be Shea Stadium before Shea Stadium was built, 4 years before the New York World's Fair. And my family, my mother's parents moved out to Queens, South Ozone Park in 1955. Both my parents from Harlem, and they moved out to Queens. Of course, it was the beginning of white flight. Blacks moved to Queens and Brooklyn, and whites moved out to Long Island. And so I was born in Queens. The first 10 or 9 years of my life was in Queens. And we moved out to Roosevelt during the '69 Mets season. So I was kind of like Mets, Jets, and Knicks the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that was that. That was Queens. So anytime somebody says Queens in the house, I always say Strong Island, Long Island.
Yeah.
Geographically, it's all Long Island. You have to tell people from Brooklyn and Queens that. That's why they call Kings County. The head of the fish is Brooklyn and Queens County, and you know, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know so much about it. I said, well, you should know where you live. Geographically incline yourself.
You also spent formative years in Roosevelt, Long Island, growing up. Can you tell us what it was like growing up in Roosevelt?
Well, even to this day, I'm picking up trash off the lawn. So Roosevelt was also it was a town, 1 square mile, where it was a test example of white flight. Because my parents were, you know, they bought a house from a town, from a house owner who was on the way out, and they were white. And the town was 65% white, 35% black. By 1971, it was 85% black and 15% white. And it was a test example of white flight and reverse gentrification, whatever they want to have the term is. But that's the Roosevelt that Howard Stern talks about.
Yeah.
You know, because his family tried to hold on in Roosevelt, and it was a bad time to hold on. It's in the middle of Black Power, it's in the middle of a lot of things, and Roosevelt became this hamlet of where everybody came from everywhere. So they came from Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Manhattan, even Newark, although there's very few reasons that a New Jersey act would move to Long Island. You know, just like a Long Island is not going to go to Jersey. So, but most cases. So we were like a test ground for the way people were moving around at that particular time. And it's even test example even when people study migration and what they call it block busting at that time. A lot of things that were going on in the boroughs in Long Island and the counties at that time. So we were one of those families. And so it was very competitive. And everybody brought something to the table. So yeah, you were going to school with these new kids. You didn't know them since you was 2 years old. You kind of knew them as you got there. And so that was very competitive, and we grew to be competitive. But out of that spirit, we also grew that we had that solidarity too. So that was a very special time. I don't think that time will ever repeat itself in this area.
I remember at the time they used to say integration was the period from when the first black family moves in to when the first white family moves out.
Yeah.
That's how we describe that.
And it's 1 square mile, so you could really get a monitor real quick in Roosevelt. It's 1 square mile, north, south, east, and west. So everybody was catching everybody was looking at everybody, and even the students, the black students that were inside Roosevelt, they would eventually venture off to other schools. Like I went to Clark. I graduated from Clark High School in Westbury, East Meadow, because they had a tech program, and Roosevelt did it. And I wanted to get out and enhance my graphic skills, which kind of bugged me out because we was in the back room and I was looking at all my cartoons for Adelphi. And I was a freshman in 1978 in the school, and myself and a fellow freshman by the name of Jeff Thomas, we were 2 black freshmen on this campus, and we were the school's cartoonists. Jeff did Guardians of the Galaxy, so he was on some superhero shit, you know what I'm saying? And he was a dope artist too, and a real sweet dude, man, really nice. Me, I was this politically brash, I don't give a type person, and it came out of my artwork, and I didn't get the full blast of how crazy I was until I just saw my artwork. I was like, okay, damn, okay, that's where it comes from.
Backstage, we were talking about maybe selling some of that art for good purposes, and we get to do that someday.
Because a lot of times the Adelphi sends me letters like, we don't have a fundraiser. Well, I have a bunch of broke companies, and I can't have a fundraiser when I owe somebody $200. But what I could do is actually do a lot of art up at Logic and then have that go for auction. So,
yeah.
I don't hold on to my own art, which is, I just think that's like drinking your own vomit. I only put it in the best ways I know.
We also talked about why you chose Adelphi University. Can you talk about that?
I chose Adelphi University because back in 1970, they had on Hussle campus this program called the Afro-American Experience. And so all the black kids from Hempstead, Roosevelt, Freeport, Westbury, Uniondale, all went to Hussle for summer camp. But who was running the summer camp were like Panthers, hippies, radical students, and they were teaching as well as you was going around having a happy 10 and 11-year-old life, and they was teaching you basically what it was to be black in the United States of America and what you need to know when you go back to school. So it changed our scope, Columbus had a hard time when we went back in the 5th grade, you know what I'm saying? So after 1970 and 71 on Hussle, they cut the programs. And they had some kind of like milk toast version of the program the next year, 1972, at Adelphi. And I kept hearing the kids like, oh yeah, it's gonna be at Adelphi, but it ain't like the Afro-American experience, who we think the Fed stopped. But anyway, 72, we're gonna go to the Adelphi pool, Adelphi pool. So I was like, I can't wait to go to Adelphi pool. What's Adelphi? Adelphi pool. We come up here, we went to the pool. But then I saw the campus, 11 years old. Matter of fact, there was a guy in the back of the bus running his mouth the whole time telling jokes and boxing, talking about boxing. He just moved from Brooklyn. And I was like, but this dude stop damn talking all the damn time. Eddie Murphy. Coincidentally, Eddie Murphy always used to hang up here at Adelphi. Looking for the girls. Because we had the Thursday night throwdown up here. Thursday night throwdown was the black big thing. First it was in the Rathskeller, and then later on it became upstairs in the University ballroom, and it seemed like we had a population. But Mark Shashaw was the big man on campus back then. He was the head, like one of the big movers and shakers at the Alpha, so he kind of dictated a lot of those Thursday night throwdowns, and that's where I was discovered too.
Right, Rathskeller.
At the Rathskeller, yeah. But Hank Shockley, who head of the biggest DJ operation on Long Island, Spectrum. And I was a fan, I'm coming from Roosevelt. Everything was about Spectrum. And early on, like a summer, I went to a gig that Spectrum did, and they had nobody there. And I said, well, it's because of the flyers. And I was great at graphics. I said, look, if I do your flyers, right people will be here. So he kind of like, get the F out of my face, dude. And then later on, he came to the Thursday Night Throwdown and heard me get on the mic. Now, I only got on the mic. Larry T was the DJ from Freeport and Nebraska every Thursday night. And this is where everybody from all the towns and also from Brooklyn and Queens would come to the Throwdown from all over. Adelphi jamming on Thursday. So, yeah, Larry T was the DJ from Freeport. And you know, I mean, I ain't got, you know, I got game. I ain't that, like I'm a fly dude, so you gotta have a lot of game to compensate for how you ain't fly. You ask a girl how to dance, that's a task, right? So you probably get your dance on, and all you need is a whack dude getting on the mic. And then she's like, I don't want to dance anymore. Like, looking at Larry T, like, you stop putting these whack people on the mic, right? Then I got on the mic. And I got on the mic to sit whack MCs down, whack people down. Because they just think this is gonna be from Brooklyn and the Bronx and Queens, or they just think automatically because those areas are where hip hop is from, that they good automatically. So I would get on the mic and sit them down so I could get my dance on with no MC. Because if somebody's gonna come on after me, they're gonna have a problem because they would be like, well, Larry got a little mic, and how come I don't sound like he sound on that mic? Because back then it was about quality of voice. So they were like, I ain't getting on the mic after him because he's heard and I can't be heard. So Hank heard me, and then he asked me would I be an MC for Spectrum. I'm like, I don't know, I gotta think about it. But by the next week, you know, I said, this is an organization I want to be with. And we always focused on Thursday nights at Adelphi. Although I was a student in '78, but I got kicked out in the spring of '79. That's another long story. I'll make it really short. Real good one. That's why y'all here.
Thank you. So you went on to work with the WBAU. Can you tell people about that?
Yeah, that's the WBAU.
Can you just stand for a moment so that you know that you're in the house here?
Yeah. You know, 747-4757, area code 90.3, broadcast at Adelphi University. I first found out about WBAU as a freshman, but you know, I was an art student, so it was nothing. You know, I was in the music, but I had no placement in music. I just liked to hear it, and it was interesting to me. After I got kicked out, and my story was really quick. I was so active on this campus as a freshman. School cartoonist for the Adelphi, always participating in events. Might have been an alpha, might have not have been. Just always, you know, in my department with people like Professor Barks and Jenna John and Cantone, I was, you know, I'm doing the whole 3.5 hours, and I got potential like a mother. I come from a background where I was a phenom in high school. And I got a partial scholarship to go to New York Tech. But I didn't want to take architecture. I wanted to take graphic design because I had a rendering scholarship because I won awards as a sophomore and as a senior in high school. But I said, I don't want to go to architecture. I had enough of that in high school. I want to go and brush up on my design skills. And Adelphi had the best design department while being a university. I could have went to Pratt, that means going in the city, and it's just an art school. I said, I want the university experience. And plus it's close, and I'll take the N40, N41, go to South Franklin, get surveilled by police. It's like, why are you walking through the neighborhood? Well, officer, it's just this flat machine gun. But no, it was like, okay. So after my first year, I had nothing but incompletes because it's the School of Arts and Sciences, but I'm going to the arts but MF the sciences and the English. And here's the thing that kind of threw me out. I was sitting in the English class, right, with this professor. This is the beginning of the semester. Fall, 1978, fresh, everybody, you know, all freshmen all happy. Juniors looking at him like, you don't even know. Happy is gonna come off in November. Anyway, I'm sitting there and I see a person get up and just walk out the room. And the teacher just kept teaching. I was like, you could do that? I couldn't believe it. Because in high school, you got like half permission, where you going and all that. This person just got up, folded books and walked out and everything was, I was like, I should have never saw that. I saw that one time, and I went to the bathroom not too long after that, and I was in the gym playing ball. Well, at the end of the year, I got a whole bunch of eyes. Not fail, just eyes. Matter of fact, I looked at this end of the year paper in May of 1979, and I kept turning it upside down. It kept saying the same thing, eyes. I was like, and then, sir, Mr. Rydell, by the way, you kicked the fuck out. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I had such a great time at Adelphi. So I go back and I have a meeting with Harry Davis and Dean of Art and Sciences, dude that don't really play, right? He's like, I don't get you, man. I mean, you're an enigma. I don't understand. You like school newspaper, you're in this organization, you're participating, you're a freshman, and everybody from the department said you're outstanding. But dude, you don't go to the classes, man, that you're required to go to. I don't understand. He said, I usually don't do this, man. And I was like, what can I do to get back in? I asked that question. He said, I usually don't do this. But you know what, I'm gonna make an exception for you. He says, if you make up, meaning if you sit and ask every single one of these professors, and if you could sit in their class and take that course all over again, and some of them go on a sabbatical, and I didn't know what sabbatical was. You know what? We will reevaluate you and look at it. If one professor says no, deal's off the table. I'm like, so I went to each one of my professors, I got the incomplete for 2 semesters, and they both said cool. One of them was on sabbatical, was returned into like fall 1980. I took each one of those classes over and took it with diligence. That's when I knew that, when I got kicked out, that's when I knew school was a business. I would like, if I was late, I would call, hey, you know, I'm gonna be a little bit late. You know, we got a snow drift in front of the M41. So, and then I get to class, and you know, and I was reinstated, spring 1981. And then I treated school like a business, man. Yeah. I was a phenom in my department, as well as all the rest of the classes, and it was serious. But that's when I met the second inclination, because when I first was a freshman, I thought I was alone. Here I'm this rebellious spirit, and they don't get me. I'm a B-boy as a freshman. None of these cats is B-boy. They come from Brooklyn, Queens, or whatever. They're not really about this hip-hop thing, and I'm just a little brash for my own good. My second time around, I felt a kindred spirit, and kindred spirit was people like Bill Stephanie, the Crow Sisters, Ray, who was even more radical than I was. I was like, oh my God, this element. So I felt I was really at home. So when I came at 81, I felt I had peoples that was on my wavelength. In 78, I didn't, but it ain't about you. And so I felt that was sort of like people that got me, and WBAU was our nest, it was our high. And we would take all these things that we had stored up in us, whether we were introverts or extroverts. Really, all of us as creators were kind of introverted, but it all come down the extroverted side, especially WBAU, which is a voice for our community. And at that particular time, we felt that our community wasn't getting talked to at all. And we just said, well, we were bold and brash, and we felt that we had the music as a platform. And that day happened. I was on a shuttle bus coming out of Adelphi, And back then, of course, it was like none of y'all walking through this neighborhood and going to South Franklin or North Franklin. No, we had a shuttle bus that would take y'all to the Hempstead bus terminal. Wow. And that's where y'all could disperse amongst the masses, you know? And one day, as I was hungry, leaving the campus, because, you know, hunger was a big part of the campus. It's like, man, and you know what, the cafeteria and the UC guarded the food like Fort Knox. It was like, no, you can't have no ketchup from the fridge fryer. And so you always hungry. I'm like, I got $5. The bus is $2, whatever it was. And if I spend this, I'm going to walk 4 miles. So I got it, and you know, people coming out of the cafeteria, burping. And you're like, it's like that. So one day on the way to Hempstead, I'm wearing the Spectrum, you know, jacket, because I design logos for Spectrum. I said, well, number one, the number one sound gotta have the number one look. And it came straight out of me designing it right up at Blodgett, making a t-shirt design out of it, making jackets out of it. And one day, this guy, Bill Stephanie, says, hey, Spectrum, huh? Wow, okay. Oh, you're a Chucky D. And I said, yeah. And you're Rusty J's friend, Bill Stephanie. Rusty J was a contacted dude. He's from Lakewood. And Bill says, hey, you know, I got the hip hop show, I'm music director. I could be wrong about director, but Bill did it all. He was a wonder guy. And that's how the relationship started. And then it went from there, and we got, Bill granted us position on the air, and he's the dude that got me into this mess.
Could you tell us a little bit about your family? You know, your mother, Judy?
Yeah, my mom and dad definitely was the right age at the right time, with the right spirit. You know, what's kind of like underplayed in the fabric of the United States of America is the 1950s when it came to black lives. A lot of people feel they know about the 60s, which is a convergence of a whole bunch of things. You have people that take that step. And a lot of people kind of clear about 1940s, coming out of World War II. So black folks say, I ain't having it, I ain't taking no more. And you have that movement in there. But the 1950s was a lot of things happening in black United States of America. Also happening also abroad in Africa. A lot of things were going on where somebody had to make some decisions. You had Brown versus Board, all that stuff going on here. And my parents were out of the 50s. Father was born in 1938, mom was born in 1939, 151st Street in Harlem. So a lot of things are swirling through their whole independent way of thinking and looking at the world. And I happen to be one of their children. I call my sister and my brother. And when they happened to group up together and move to Long Island after Queens, they were rather independent state of mind. It wasn't like being 20 years prior to that. And on my birth certificate, I have Negro. By 1965, we were colored. To give you an example, we all watched this show called The Newlywed Game. The Newlywed Game would have 4 couples on it. And 4 couples on there would talk about, okay, we're newlyweds, so we're gonna talk about, you know, like us. And we'd be like, oh, the colored couple win. We were clearly colored. And around when I was 5 years old, that's when civil rights as a bill was passed. So it's like, okay, now, you know, you have the right to be called civil, to be treated civil. Wow, thank you, United States of America. So we were clearly colored. But by the end of the decade, black was beautiful. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, 1968. Also, there's turbulence in that whole decade. Like if you speak out, you kill, and then Vietnam is going on. And it's all kinds of, so it was an unbelievable learning ground in the 60s, and my parents were young parents. So they opened up the floodgates and said, you know, listen, you be what you want to be. Ain't gonna be easy, you gotta put in the work. But you know, you can be what you want to be, and we ain't gonna get in the way of that, you know? And so I'm growing up in a house that music is part of the fabric, like, you know, Stax, Motown, Atlantic, with my mom's side, James Brown. James Brown says, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. He's got white kids and Asian kids saying, I'm black and I'm proud. That was the power of music. But also understand this. We also learned that the power of the music is because they got pressure from the movement to make the musicians say what they have to say to the people. It didn't come out of the musicians, it came out of the people. Real people doing real things. Dr. Martin Luther King, we knew back in the day, he wasn't just a dreamer. Because I remember Dr. Martin Luther King's speeches when I was 7. It didn't have nothing to do when I was 3. And that's 1967 when he opposed the Vietnam War. I remember that quite clearly. You know, I'm first, second grade, I'm cognizant of what's going on. This is one of the things that also formed the mind, but not just myself, but the peers that created Public Enemy and what we did at WBAU. We came out of that. So we have it boiled up in us. What BAU allowed us to do is kick it out. And my parents were very clear about not trying to keep it in. They didn't know that I was going to actually do music. I mean, in the 12th grade, if somebody would have came up and said, Chuck D, you're going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame making records, and I was like, man, you better get out of my face. What, I can't sing? I had people that, my 2 homeboys I grew up with, man, one be singing like Earth, Wind & Fire, the other be singing Commodore. They be looking at me in the back because I can't sing. Like, just try. But, yeah, my parents are very clear. Oh, my dad, especially young. You know, when they say somebody's 100, one thing I know, when they talk about my father and they talk about my mother, they say, yo, your people's 1,000. Because they're going to give it to you as it's given. But a lot of the parents is just like that. You know, Mrs. Box, you know, Andrew Williams, Drew's mom and dad, just like that. Just people that come out of born in the 40s, 30s, when they came into the 50s, they learned that they wasn't going to keep their tongues wrapped in the back of their mouth and be quiet about something. They were bold about it, and they brought that into the 60s and the 70s with that same approach, and we the kids from that.
You mentioned the Grammy that Public Enemy won.
Grammy? No, we never won a Grammy, but that's all right.
Oh, it's Hall of Fame.
But no, that's so
Rock Hall of Fame.
yeah, but you know what? I said even that night, I said, we don't win anything. If I could break a trophy up in 1 trillion pieces, it would go to 1 trillion different contributors, as well as the people out there. Well, take it, but one thing we also learned at WBAU, what we wanted to do, we wanted to get in radio. And Dre and Wanda and Steve and Bill, they taught the humility of it's not about us, it's about how many people can we shine a light on. When I became an artist, I took that same step into the world. It's not about me, but how many people can we make, you know, shine. You know, the joy and the pleasure out of me is talking about your son's music. And that gives me the buzz because if it's better for him, it's gonna be better for other people that I look at or be better for me. That's what makes us, and we were very competitive to make hip hop and rap music not being looked at as a commercialized joke.
Is it true that the first rap group made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was Public Enemy? No?
2006 was Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5.
Okay.
2009 Run DMC. 2012 myself and LL Cool J, who should be in there. In 2012 we inducted the Beastie Boys, and we got it in 2013. When we got it in 2013, it was more like you have a constant push. I think one of the biggest disgraces is that LL Cool J is not in there. And LL Cool J is like, he's like our Little Richard. But you don't have, the problem is that they tell you that, oh, hip hop is the biggest music today and rap is bigger, and nobody knows about it. And then you have journalists who started at a certain time, but they don't have enough backlogging, serious backlogging on the history to be able to have a concise yet futuristic conversation and argument about why LL Cool J could be compared to Little Richard or Rod Stewart. Because they don't know enough about the genre, the art form, or now do they care? People say they love it, but I say like this, man. Whatever you say you love, you should know thoroughly about. It's like somebody that loves their street but don't know how the street got its name. You know, or I love the Knicks, but you don't, the only person you know is, you know, who they, maybe hope they get signed. It's like, okay, if you don't know nothing about the Knicks, oh yeah, Patrick Ewing, and, you don't really know about it. But in sports, they train you not to be stupid. That's why they got ESPN 8 times a day. So you won't be stupid on sports. People drop the ball all the time on music. And one thing I learned from the Bill, Dre's, Steve's tutelage, Johnny Juice, one thing I learned, Jack Voss over at Hofstra, it's not about delivering a song without talking about there's a story, there's a place where it comes from, there's credits that mean something. Inform the people of why this thing is what it is. I learned that from Hank, Keith, Harry Allen, you know, all of us fell asleep in the same Andre Strobel classes. I say that in jest, but Professor Andre Strobel was a great big galvanizer on this campus for us, myself, Dre, Bill, Harry, you know, and others that went to his classes and learn that, you know, damn, music is more than what you just hear. Music is us, it's in us, and it's always gonna find its way because we are people who have been robbed of expressing ourselves 100% like we should. Even when we express ourselves, there's gonna be rumbling and shakings and the rapids. But this is just the way it is because the first thing that created it has caused that effect of, oh, wow, why you gotta be black today? You know, it's like, you know, the social media narrative today is like, oh, there you go with the black shit, you know, you can't say the word white. And that's the United States problem of race. They never have gotten it right. Even when you look at commercials today on TV, your favorite basketball game, commercials are very, very diverse, but somebody pushed the button on it. The next question is like, how many production companies are diverse behind these commercials? Well, am I starting a problem? Or there you go with that Spike Lee shit. So we discussed this at WBAU here on campus for hours. And John Schmidt was, the great John Schmidt was witness to all this as just kind of the dude that kept WBAU together for years. And trust me, if there's a problem at WBAU, John Schmidt gets the call, 3 in the morning. You know, and my whole career has been like, get this damn light off of me. I don't like attention, but how many people can we shine the light on? Thankless hours that John put in, man, and we're thankful for that. I almost cried hugging him, man.
I have 2 quick questions. As you can probably tell, Chuck D is a scholar in terms of hip hop. And I think it might be interesting if you could share just a couple of minutes about how hip hop came to be. And I want to point you to this book, This Day in Rap and Hip Hop History, put together by the same Chuck D. I urge you to go out and get it.
Well, it's good having some of your son's facts in there.
Yeah, that's how the last paper put right there.
Okay. Like I said, we wanted to look at hip hop and rap like sports. If you say you love it, then we should tell you about it, where it comes from, and treat that with some respect. That's all. Yes, hip hop is just a term of the creativity that happened to come from our neighborhoods. So it's always creative. Hip hop is just a term since the early 1970s. That's just a term. Our creativity didn't start there. Our creativity goes way back, probably since denying that whip on that boat. You know, so that's just a term. Rap music is not a music. It's never been a music. It's a vocal that's been on top of the musics that have already been defined. It's a vocal application. You know, there's 3 areas of music, either talking, you singing, or it's an instrumental. And we kind of knew that way back in the day. This is a way to actually put a vocal on top of the music, and it was done quite well in rhythm by that scene coming out of New York City. Yes, the Bronx is going to probably be the most suburban spot out of the 5 boroughs other than Staten Island, which also became proficient in itself. But you know, the Bronx was ignored. Everything was Manhattan when it came down, and Queens was just farm. The Bronx was like, you out there in the boondocks, you know? And Staten Island was invisible. And Brooklyn was its own planet. See, back in the day, there was no reason for somebody from the Bronx to go to Brooklyn at all. At all. There was no reason. It was just like another world. And same thing with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, there's no reason to go to the Bronx. No, zero. You have the New York Mass Transit System that's built in 1904, which gave the ability to travel throughout the islands and the peninsulas with the spending of a token, which all went to Robert Moses. Dr. Greene earlier said, you know, Robert Moses, you know, he's one of the forefathers of hip hop because he destroyed the Bronx. That's where Talib got mine from. That's right. But all that money went to Robert Moses. And so, you know, Brooklyn and the Bronx had their own hip hop scenes in creative ways. Maybe not hip hop as we know it, because I remember being on Long Island, just coming to Adelphi, everybody came from Brooklyn. It was different than those that came from the Bronx. More Caribbean in Brooklyn, less Caribbean in the Bronx, you know. Even less and none when you talk about Newark. Newark is a straight, South Carolina, we done moved up here, black. So you got another migration of people, but with the migration, the music follows. Brooklyn, the music faster. You know, little BT Express up in there, you know, disco, you know, stuff like that. Bronx, Low Funky, James Brown, Puerto Rican, all that stuff figured in. So when you know the musics of New York coming out on Long Island, where everybody's gonna come out to anyway, we all studied these together. You know, Johnny Juice and the Genius and that. I think the next thing that needs to come out of all of us as people is more books. Sometimes I look at it when you see Motown, and then they say, well, how many books on Motown? Well, everybody wrote a book. And I kind of think maybe that's the next plateau for all of us, our scene out here. More books, since we're in I didn't say correct reading revolution, but we're in an area where people are reading more on their phones, their pads, and stuff like that than ever. Maybe not always the right thing, but I think our stories need to be told. And that's why I think it's the next plateau. It's the next zone for me during my 60s. Like more printed word, so it can be documented better. And you know what? Documentaries are great too, but it's the lazy man's way of a book. And they're great. They're going to be around for a long time. But as we go into the following 2 decades, I don't think we could just oversee the written word, you know, the printed word.
So I'm going to turn questions over to the audience in a few minutes.
Time flies when you have it.
But I want to give them a chance to ask some questions. Before I do, you've been such a voice for social justice in this country. I wonder if you'd be able to share with young people, particularly young people of color.
How young you want to go?
I'm thinking the very same people that may be on this campus, high school.
Oh, I thought, you know, because 40 is unfortunately a new teenager.
Could you just address the issue of political racism in America and what can the rest of us think about that?
Man, I was at UCLA yesterday, and my next phase is trying to maybe diminish the importance of celebrities and people who are artists having complex say-sos on the conditions on top of people who are doing that work every day. Yeah. Real people doing things. And number one, my goal in the beginning, and as well as the rest of my guys' goal in Public Enemy and making PE and all that, and all the stuff we did on campus here, is to shine light on the doers. I mean, yeah, we're gonna do too, but there's people out there toiling every day, and we've gone to a point right now where people are looking at entertainers for answers and overlooking the people doing it every day in a terrible way. Where all our job and our purpose was to be able to deflect light into those that do, praise them going up, and we just hold our ground instead of us rising and then diminishing. Now we're at a time we got trying to be hip academics. You know, the whole, the professor field around the country, people feel like they're not getting enough love over what they are able to spend years to research and study and deliver, and end up like, you know, somebody up there in the middle of a video is going to give them answers in a society that's saying, yo, I ain't happy with the answer. But entertaining will give it to you. Now, I happen to come from a different background. I'm a certain age. I can give a point of view, but I'm going to point to people and I'm going to say that's not even a quick fix answer. Because one thing you do learn is no shortcuts whatsoever in the repairs going into the next decade of so-called clarity, 2020. There's going to be a lot of cataracts in that next decade. There's going to be a lot of, you know, that serious area is going to be a lot of people who just won't be able to see their way out. So we have to be able to give them as much light, illuminate as much situation as we can to prepare them to know the people that are doing the real thing every day. It's almost to the point where people are overlooking the real things because news is not news like it used to be. The worst thing you can ever see is a bunch of academic talking heads screaming at each other on the news. So it's like, wow, you know, they need makeup, they need their hair done right. You know, it's like, it's almost the seed of what happened in the 1960 election has gone the other way. It's like a politician's got to be like Kennedy-esque to get the vote. Although we don't know what the heck happened with Trump. We knew what kind of how that festival came about. And to us, we from the old school, so whenever you talk, you know, which I heard Trump, the first thing I'm thinking about, this dude failed at the New York Generals, right? Now we got real generals. That's the nightmare. He's got real generals. Before he was a New York general failing on him. Now we got real generals in the millennium. And the difference is, you know, we can't say have we come far because we got to redefine we. Here we are in 2019 going into 2020. There's a lot of people who were here when we were here at that young stage who are no longer here. And there's been a lot of people that have been born and they're grown and adults in the space. So that's why we can't say like, oh man, we haven't learned anything yet. No, because these are different people doing different things in different ways. You gotta attack racism in all its different areas, the institutionalized aspect of racism, and then you gotta be eloquent enough to explain the relevance of the language of pinpointing it and going about it in this time, in the context of this time. It's very important, or you're gonna lose this time. And then you're gonna be betting on the next generations or next two generations, and there's already a spiral going down. There's a total different human being right now in 2019 than it was in 1999. And when we were here in 1984, it was a different way we took in information. I mean, yes, the Long Island Railroad is clean compared to 1984, where you had nothing but newspapers all over the place and cigarette butts. Now you have no cigarette butts and no newspapers because everybody's locked into their phones. So within this 90-degree angle into your phones, how do we figure out how to help with that word, the narrative on steering people into being human being and less into the pool of racism? I feel that as a black man growing up in this country, visiting 115 countries, what has further educated me, other than reading about it as a young person, is going to these countries and having concise conversations with people and just say, you know, the hype of you read and dreaming or watching a documentary, I've talked to the person. So when I go on social media sometime, and I make this a point, I only do one social media over 50. That's Twitter. My daughter runs the rest and participates in all that, but I do Twitter, that's it. So we get on Twitter, and sometimes we say, well, the conditions of people being put to sleep right here in the United States of America about what's going on around, down to like being like kind of like unaffected by what's happening on the border. Because, oh, that ain't our people, so that's down there. That hurts when you start explaining things like 1928 Germany, and you start making the comparison, and you're talking to a climate of people that can't see the comparisons. That's their loss. human beings do the same traits and cycles. If you don't study the history and see that it's developing into the same old shit, because you got new people that will take to it in new ways, but end up doing the same racist bullshit. So that covers the racist spectrum on what's going on now. You eliminate it, but it comes right back and grows right back in different forms. So you gotta be able to teach against it. And I feel that opening yourself up to the world helps a student here in this country. You're already connected with the World Wide Web. Why not try to figure out what's happening in the world if you ain't got a ticket to go, or if it ain't Rick Ross's Cancun party? The only reason cats are getting a passport. 2 Chainz got a Cancun pool party, and everybody, I gotta get my passport. Gotta get my global entry, you know? Now, the world is gonna give you a story on how to come back into this country and deal with the obvious racism that a lot of people can't see. So the diaspora saves us, to me. The diaspora always has saved me. And you know, and what I mean by the diaspora, all those areas in the world that understand that it's been a glitch in the human race that have treated people of darker skin worse than people of lighter skin. And this is the last, 500 to some odd years of this treatment of this being subliminal in the back of minds, and it comes out in the institution. And so that's why we have to destroy the stench of institutionalized racism. If you ain't got nobody in an upstate prison, then prisons don't mean nothing to you, right? But if you got somebody in prison, then all of a sudden you're cognizant of the one side of this that's in prison. You start to be cognizant of the statistics. Why in 1970 is 100,000 black men in prison, and the numbers right now are swollen over 1 million? What happened in that 50-year period? So these are questions that ask that usually academics or smart people, right? The reason I say smart, like it was a time I used to say intelligence is across the board because people are gifted in different areas. But when I start seeing that people that come to schools that excel in some sort of intelligentsia, which means the ability to start and kind of finish it out with some kind of thing they can take out in society for the benefit, we can't downplay people who are quote unquote smart. And the whole thing of celebrity being boosted and people with intelligence being shrunken, to me, is something I'm gonna work on the next 10 years. I think maybe it's something where you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, but it's gotta happen the other way. It's almost like Rockefeller makes it big by being the biggest businessman, but then in order for him to go further in his life, he knew he had to go in and be the biggest philanthropist. It's one of those things. Like, celebrity is so blown out of proportion because it's directed, it's concocted, it's created, but it shifts the masses into them asses in this century. So we gotta be able to address, because look, I just came back from LA, and to me, the thing with Nipsey Hussle was atrocious. Yes. There was some bullshit with it. And now we have parades and celebrating the life. It's like, yo, man, there's something in there that needs to be addressed and then attacked all the way across the board. And hip hop used to have that concise argument. And then people that really did things enacted upon it because they really did things. Hip hop didn't do anything but talk about it, but because they put it on the front stage and platform, they issued it. It didn't stop it, but it had people thinking twice. Because the prison industrial complex in this monster is real, y'all. And what stops the prison industrial complex from saying, oops, we had a massive gassing and it killed 500 inmates at a time. Oops, we just had some catastrophic, and I mean, once you lock down, you can't do nothing. So I'm just like saying, smart people who spent their years on research and detail, they're important. They're thinkers. And we can't downplay the thinkers. Usually thinkers think for the non-thinkers. So the non-thinkers are going about, because the non-thinkers might be doers. Sometimes doers and thinkers are two different people. Sometimes they're the same. So I don't think it's wise to start using dumb motherfucker a lot. But you know what you be thinking when somebody makes a decision, they on charge of something, you be like, in your mind, and this is what a smart person does. They ain't gonna come out because they know there's ramifications. But in their minds, like, this is a dumb, stupid motherfucker. But you got people out there who cover up their intelligence, like, I ain't trying to be the smartest in the room. I ain't trying to be the most intelligent because people might just start hating on me. But when you start doing that, 30 years later, the dumb motherfucking bag becomes bigger than the shaft of town. And we got a dumb motherfucker as a president. It brings the language out that fits.
Yeah.
I'm saying the next 10, we talked about this, we talked about this in 1984, 85. There's a bunch of stupid, dumbass motherfuckers out there. We talked about that. We used the vehicle of hip hop not to clown somebody who didn't have, but try to hold up those that did, those that thought, those that, you know what, you didn't think about that, but maybe you get a second chance. And then we could attack the racism that's making you this way, the gravity that's attacking you, the knit gravity that's attacking you. And we approached it that way. And you always need a bunch of people who dot the I's and dot the T's and know that they're never gonna get any props for it. But that doesn't stop those that have the ability to shine light on them to shine light. That's our obligation and our duty, man. And I just think when somebody gets caught up into the celebrity so much that they're famous to be famous or rich just to be rich, and you're not pointing to the person that's busting their ass, who ain't trying to get no fame or any of that, and just trying to feed their situation and trying to help out teachers, but teachers to be looked upon like they also rans or third-class citizens or that one broke, and all they're gonna do is a teacher. That's a crime in the United States of America. And the United States of America is suffering from that. And it's a 30-year, it's a 35-year. Is in the house, and she's a homegirl from Roosevelt that grew up with us. You know what?
Hey,
she's a superintendent. With hip hop, working with Juice, she's a superintendent of Roosevelt schools. She knows that the parent that's bringing the student to her school right now might not even have a fucking clue. So she ends up not even being just the parent of the students, but she's the parent of the parents. This is a 35-year disease that quote unquote the white United States of America might not get. But at the end of the day, you know, they're gonna say, oh, this person's a hip hop star. But it's like there's a lot of details that come down in that wash. And we just want people to understand that there's a war and a struggle going on, and it's going on for a long time. And what we had done in hip hop and radio and all these aspects of culture is try to go against that gravity. And that gravity keeps coming. So at least try. And like for Roosevelt, Hempstead, Freeport, we couldn't come to our towns talk about, oh, it's a big guy and little you. So we was able to come with a little bit of like, okay, this is a better way. And this is the way to go about it. And it's gonna be up to you. Everything ain't gonna save your ass. I got Drew and Prince out there in the audience from Public Enemy, and they've seen the whole world. And they know that it starts from, you set an example, and usually when we set an example, we coming from here. We coming from this level. For me to be in Roosevelt for years, I had people cursing me out because they got mad because I had 1997 Acura. And because I knew that I could drive my Acura in town and not make somebody feel less than it. I mean, I didn't need to drive a brand new car. I'm the shit. And that's what I learned from my parents. My parents like, nothing you can buy, is nothing you can get. Nobody is gonna make you better than you. And I grew up with my parents saying, you know what? Anything you get add to you is a step down. And I grew up with that. So I never had the pressure to get all these things to make me better. I didn't need these additions. And I was like that since, you know, it caught on with me since a little kid. So, you know, that's important to get across.
So,
you that Dr. Chuck D is going to be Chuck D. I got to now be James Lipton and ask those 10 questions. And if you know, I tried to give Chuck D the 10 questions, but he wouldn't take them.
Well, I used to do sculpting class right under this floor. So coming here to break down a whole bunch of different feelings and emotions. It's not really about talking about myself, which I don't like to do. I don't like cameras on me. I don't like photos. I don't like none of it. But it's part of the trade. Like Bill said back in the day, you know, something you gotta do. It's part of the thing. You're gonna do it. And you know, it's what you do, okay? But I like just silently working on the art, and then this campus gave me a lot of solitude. This campus gave me the platform on how to operate in my life, socially, politically because of my peers, musically, which is obvious, and culturally, artistically. And this campus right here, 4 miles from my home, which I chose at 12 years old, was very important. And this is why we can't sleep on any student. But you can't sleep on any student coming here like this is like also ran school. No, and you can't sleep on any professors. I have the best professors in the world, and I've been across the world 80 times. And I spoke at Harvard and Yale more than once, and UCLA and Stanford and all the Ivy League schools and Dukes and all that. But you know what? I come from Adelphi, and Adelphi, pound for pound, is just as good as any of those.
DlimitzOfficial. Sky is the limit, and you know that you can have what you want. Be what you want, have what you want, be what you want. Said the limits is the sky.